Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Icons, Rockstars, and Innovators, brought to you by the Advertising Club of New York in partnership with my team, Mixed Company Podcast. As you know, I'm the co-host and co-producer of Mixed Company, Kai Devereaux Lawson, and I am here with a rock star in her own right, Miss Tiffany Edwards.
Hi, Kai.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm better because I'm here with you.
It's always a good time. So we're going to try to get through this without having too many fun club moments. So as you know, we're here with the Advertising Club discussing the golden era of Black advertising. So before I even get into that, I want to hear a little bit about your journey so that people get some context as to what kind of perspective you'll bring to this conversation.
Absolutely. So my journey with advertising is actually an interesting one. I was one of those that stumbled into the industry by mistake. I actually started my career in the industry at the One Club for art and copy, opening entries for their One Show award show.
Oh.
So we're talking about 18,000 packages from around the country and the world.
Posters,
tapes. It was work. It was work with the Q at the end, work.
Okay.
But the amazing part of it was I had always been in love with advertising as a kid, and I didn't know what it was called. I used to clip ads out of magazines and save them in a scrapbook. So it was really amazing to me to understand that there were actually people and companies behind this work. And so that was my first entry point to the One Club. From that role, I grew into their event planner, then from there a special project manager, and then eventually into the education and diversity director. So it was an amazing kind of entry point to the industry.
Amazing, amazing. And you actually did a stint here at the Advertising Club, didn't you?
I did as well. So from the One Club, I helped develop their One Club Creative Boot Camp and the Hear All the Black People program. I was there for about 7 years, and then the ad club called me, actually Gina Grillo, and let me know about this new amazing program they were starting called I Am Part.
Amazing.
And asked me to come and help develop that. So, I felt like the One Club was in a solid place and the programs were running solidly. So I handed the reins over to my amazing Aunt Tracy Smith. We keep it in the family, and came here to the ad club where I worked for about 3 years as well.
Amazing. And I'm part is actually has actually evolved into the fellowship, which actually I'm a part of for 2018, 2019. So beyond our friendship, we actually have a lot more ties than we can probably even speak about.
Absolutely.
So even with that, like I said, we're talking about the golden age of Black advertising. Yes. I want to get from your perspective, are there any innovations that you can think of from the, not that you were there, but just from the history lessons from the late 1960s to the early 90s that came out of Black advertising that we should be celebrating this Black History Month?
Absolutely. To your point, we were not personally there, but the foundation and the work that they laid by creating these spaces that were for us, by us. I know FUBU still rocks with me, but that
we should give a shout out to FUBU.
FUBU is, yes, it allowed me to grow up as a little chocolate girl. In a world where all the Barbies were still blonde and all the shows were still 90210, and see images reflected that made me feel proud of my heritage. And actually, some of the ads that were created by these agencies that were started in the golden era were part of my scrapbook. So my favorite one I still have to this day and remember is a Coca-Cola ad that was in Jet magazine. It's so cheesy, but it was when they took the straws and made them like dreads for the bottle and had them wearing Timbs. And I thought that was the coolest thing at the time. Such a small little cultural nuance, but those moments really did reflect with me and kind of stay with me as I grew up. So
amazing.
I am so appreciative of the work and the foundation that they laid for us to be here today.
So resonance, to your point, is very important and has been, especially during the golden era of Black advertising. You, however, have done a really good job of continuing that thread of giving people the opportunity to see themselves that I've actually had the pleasure of being a part of and watching, and that is with the Culture Code series that you did quite a few years back, right?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the Culture Code series was developed as a part of the Madison's Collective's output. And the whole purpose behind it was actually myself and Benga Obafemi knew all of these stories that our friends in the industry had shared with us, whether they were traumas or awkward moments. That we
One and the same.
Yes, sometimes they go together. Typically they do. And so... Definitely both. So, we really wanted to find a way to, and every time those stories were told to us, they felt like therapy. So we wanted to find a way to kind of share those stories out with the rest of the industry and let them know not only are you not alone in these moments, but there are learnings that can be had that make these conversations a little less awkward and race-based. So we called it Culture Code. And they literally are just awkward moments that happen in the workplace based on cultural differences or people not knowing better or trying to do better. One of my favorite stories is actually yours. When you talk about being the only black girl in the agency and being singled out as they want to try to figure out how to twerk.
Everybody wanted to know how to twerk.
And how you dusted out of that room so fast.
Listen, that would have been the day to start running track as fast as I got out of that room.
But I just wanted young people of color in this industry to know that microaggressions are real. You're not crazy. It did happen. They did try it. And there is a way to stand up for yourself and keep it moving forward without, losing
I'm
it and
slightly
flipping over a
embarrassed
table.
that we even brought it up. But yes, it's amazing, right? The golden era of black advertising brought you guys to Culture Code. Culture Code actually led to the start of Mixed Company Podcast. And we're here today doing this series, so that's amazing.
It brought us into the room. I mean, Tom Burrell was the first black ad man in Chicago, so for him to be the first allowed us to be the second, third, fourth, fifth, 10,000th, and hopefully more. Amazing.
So it's actually interesting that you bring up Tom Burrell because, in this space of diversity and inclusion, and as we talk about multicultural agencies, there are quite a few that are still here and thriving today.
Absolutely.
Burrell Agency is one to name. We have Uniworld. There's also Carol H. Williams. Why do you think they have lasted or sustained themselves so long? And why are they so relevant in today's business?
Because I think, and again, quoting Tom Burrell, he always said that for general market advertising agencies, they needed to understand that black people are not just dark-skinned white people, meaning there are nuances to our culture. There is so much rich history and kind of just, what is that term that's always used now that's so important? I have to go backwards. Sorry.
Like, man,
why can't I think of this? You know what I'm saying? Ugh.
Girl.
It's in my head.
Okay.
It's gone. Anyway, I'll go back.
We'll get it.
So as Tom Burrell used to say, black people are not just dark-skinned white people. So, general market agencies would tend to do kind of basic research. Black people like this, they like that. But they didn't always understand the cultural nuance, the rich history, the things that made us proud of who we are, the context connected to our families, to our communities. So I think that agencies have done these diverse agencies have done a beautiful job of not only merging marketing with art and commerce, but also with telling true stories and authentically representing ourselves and our people in a way that's not always based on stereotypes. And I think that's why they're still here today, because just as much as I needed to see it as a little girl, so do the kids coming up now and the next generations.
Exactly. And then it's interesting because even the idea of culture and nuance, in the 1960s and the 70s, and even through the 80s and 90s, there's a collective feeling of empowerment amongst a whole bunch of people, primarily of black people. It's why we celebrate Black History Month today. Do you feel that there are any similarities to that time period of the golden era of black advertising and advertising as we know it today?
I think yes, in that we're finally going back to embracing ourselves in our natural states. I think that we went right. I was going to say us with our big, beautiful curly hair that keeps touching the microphone. No, but I think that, I think the ads that I looked at back in the 70s, I still have a few of my grandmother's like old Albany magazines that I like to keep just because I think history is so cool. But you saw the afros and the beautiful sheen on the hair and the long, beautiful curls. And, people were embracing their blackness. It was during an era when the movement was so strong to really be heard and seen and respected. And I think that we're coming back to that. When I was first entering my career, I was told by, people that I couldn't get a job unless I straightened my hair and got rid of my, thick twists and unless I, just kind of assimilated a bit more. And now more than ever, I'm so proud of my heritage. I see so many people around us being proud of their heritage. Yeah. I walk around my agency and around the industry and see women with braids and curls and twists and TWAs, teeny weeny afros, and just expressing themselves and representing themselves. And I feel like that's going back to what it felt like back in the golden era when black was beautiful and we were representing it and not adjusting it to assimilate.
Amazing. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for sharing your perspective with us today. And thank you all for watching this content series. It's been amazing having this conversation with you. And hopefully you guys have the opportunity to hear more.